Hey guys, Mark here. It's interesting that I just recently posted some videos again about the government's attempt to use Hollywood to steer the course of the election. It's quite blatant and quite obvious, but yet they continually want to blame Russia. And with that said, we need to talk about this shooting that happened in Florida. Um, I'm going to talk to you about what's going on with this, and then I'm going to uh, share some personal details. And for those of you who are new subscribers or haven't seen some other videos, and perhaps give y'all something to think about. Now, before I jump into this particular article here, um, I don't have it saved, and I honestly don't have the time to um, look this up. But the original article that I read, this is on Yahoo here, and the other one that I saw that I'm referring to was on Yahoo as well. There's a lot of discrepancies in this shooting. Now, originally they said that he flew in from Canada. Then it turned out that he actually flew in from Alaska. Okay, they couldn't seem to decide where he was coming in from. Then they finally decided that he was at the Florida Hollywood gate, which I found very interesting because somehow they're saying that this man managed to sneak a gun onto his carry-on luggage at the airlines, and it was actually the only thing that he brought on the flight, and somehow was able to sneak it through security without anybody batting an eye. Uh, if any of you know anything about uh, airport security, or if you've ever just flown on an airplane, then you know you can't sneak a gun onto an airline flight, and if you do, you're going to end up in prison for a very long time, right? Well, so he comes in at this Florida Hollywood terminal, and he gets off and he goes and retrieves his gun, which he somehow smuggled and didn't get caught with, which is pretty far fetched to begin with, right? And what they said was that what he did immediately is he went over into change clothes, and he put on a Star Wars T-shirt before he started shooting all these people. And of course, in this particular article, um, the only person that they had as a witness, his last name was Leia. Right? So the man who does a shooter from the Hollywood terminal in Florida puts on a Star Wars shirt and goes and shoots people, and then the only witness they can find is Leia, Mark Leia. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. And then, of course, when he got through shooting, he just laid down on the floor and waited for the cops to come and arrest him. And the cops never fired a shot. Well, there's several witnesses that all came out and said that they saw several men with assault rifles that were firing shots after they saw the man get arrested, but they're still claiming that it was a single shooter. Okay, so all of this straight away is starting to sound pretty hinky. Now, this is what the most of America doesn't seem to really get or understand, and I don't know how I can make this clear enough. But this guy's name was Esteban Santiago, okay, and he had trouble controlling his anger after serving in Iraq, and he told his brother and he told the FBI that he thought the CIA was trying to control his mind, and they were trying to force him to watch ISIS videos and serve ISIS. Now, if you go through and you read the comments on most of the articles here on Yahoo, and if you look, it even had a good chunk of the um, videos about this on YouTube. A lot of people just seem to say the same thing. A good chunk of America keeps to saying the same thing, that we had some kind of disgruntled war vet that said he needed help and the system failed him, right? I've talked about this in my video before. Back in the 1980s, my mom went kind of nuts. She ended up being in a psychiatric hospital for a little over a year. She ended up getting diagnosed as having multiple personality disorder and had over 100 different personalities. And my mother was also a military veteran from the war in Vietnam. Now, after tons of different sessions of therapy and hypnosis and the psychiatrist talking to all the different personalities, he said the personalities finally came out and were telling him that she was involved in some secret mind control project by the government called MK Ultra. And keep in mind, this was back in the late 80s. There was no internet. There wasn't a whole bunch of information about there like there is now. So when they told us stuff about this back then, it seemed pretty darn bizarre. And then lo and behold, not too long later, we had the boom of the internet, and the information just starts flooding the internet. And come to find out, through all these Freedom of Information Acts and declassified documents, it turns out that the government did in fact have a mind control program that they ran for quite a few years called MK Ultra. And what America needs to quit doing is burying their head in the sand and just keep saying that this man was just crazy and delusional and had PTSD. This man was in the National Guard for Alaska and Puerto Rico. He served 2 years in Iraq. Received several accommodations and medals for his service in Iraq, and then out of the middle of nowhere, they end up discharging him for not performing up to standards. We're talking about a decorated war hero, guys, that all of a sudden washes out because he's not performing up to standards. And then he's sitting there telling you, look, the government's controlling my mind. They're making me watch ISIS videos. They're trying to brainwash me, and they're trying to make me fight for ISIS. And I want the government to help me. And they just said, oh, see you later, get out. Right? And I gotta wonder, America, what the hell is the point of these Freedom of Information Acts? What the hell is the point of releasing these documents to show you the truth if you don't even want to believe them? Right? We have documentation out there that the government's been trying to control people's minds since like the 40s, maybe even before that. All right? Their mind control projects are public record now. They are a part of history, and people want to act like that they don't exist. Right? And I don't understand the dissociation. How can you not see an actual document from the actual government showing you exactly what's going on and just choose this out? Oh, well, the government must have just made that up. They weren't really doing this. These are not really real documents being released by the real government, right? I mean, think about this. Think about this. Let's talk about the election, right? The government keeps saying that the Russians hacked the election, but it seems like multiple states have claimed that the only people that tried to hack the election with the Department of Homeland Security. We've still got a call from the governor of Georgia to investigate why the Department of Homeland Security was attempting to hack the election. He has asked for an investigation into this one that which has not happened yet, right? So how do they respond to the governor of Georgia's request to uh, have an independent body investigate why the Department of Homeland Security was trying to hack the election? How did the government respond to this? Well, they just decided that the Department of Homeland Security is now in control of elections. They've labeled it as critical infrastructure, and they can be as secretive about the election as they want to be now. But no one wants to talk about this. Everybody just wants to keep pretending that the government's always got our best interest at heart and that they never do anything crazy, even though there's just stacks of mountains high worth of paperwork saying the complete opposite. Right? So it's time to take your head out of the sand, America. There's a very good chance if this man said that he was under mind control that maybe he was. Once again, you want to deny the fact that everybody on the planet practically has said America's been aiding and abetting ISIS and created ISIS, and we're not really fighting ISIS because we're the ones who created them to overthrow Assad. But no one wants to seem to believe all of the evidence that says that's exactly what's going on. And I'm just wondering, does everybody in this planet just want to keep living in fantasy land? I don't know. I don't get it, but it's time y'all start looking at the truth, examining what the truth is, and start believing it. Y'all take care, guys.